Long live your turtle here, and in the last video I reviewed the Penn-Plax turtle topper above tank basking platform. This was an awesome product. However, it only fits 13-inch wide aquariums. So what I'm going to do in this video is show you how to make this turtle topper fit any size tank. Okay, so we're talking about turtle tanks here. Turtles are not like fish, they're not narrow, they are like discs and they're wide, and therefore they prefer wide tanks. Also think of a pond. Turtles live in ponds that are obviously much wider than they are deep, so we want to try to mimic that with our tank. This turtle topper only fits narrow tanks, and that's a huge problem with this product. Huge, but we can fix that. I present to you the Turtle Topper Mod. Super uncreative name. So this is my 40-gallon aquarium. Again, I said this topper only fits 13-inch wide tanks. The 40-gallon is a little over 18 inches wide, and the best tank you can get when you first buy a turtle, that's about 4 inches in carapace length, which is going to be the smallest turtle you can get in a store. All right, let's go ahead and install the Turtle Topper Mod. Installation complete. Super easy to put onto the aquarium and obviously take off. And I'm using a mercury vapor bulb that produces both heat and UVB, which are required for a turtle to successfully bask. Now you can see on this side of the tank it's completely open and a turtle could escape. So we need to cover that, and what I'm going to use is a painted egg crate that I sized to fit this opening that you can see. Now the turtle can't escape, and the basking platform is separate from this cover, so you can take this cover off and do whatever you need to in the tank, and you can also feed straight through the openings in the egg crate. This is also where you could add a light to light up the aquarium itself, and you can put all of your filter tubing and any sort of wire or air tubing through the back here, and you can cut out any size that you need in order for those to fit back here. That's why egg crate is awesome. And now this whole tank is ready for a turtle. Let's take a closer look at the design. A closer look at the Turtle Topper Mod. Like I said before, you use all of the original components, including the base here. You have your plastic top, you add your basking lamp, that clamps onto the back. I installed the ramp and the back resting area as the original instructions tell you to do. Now what I added was this wooden frame around the outside. It goes all the way around, as you can see. So what this frame does is it adds width to the turtle topper so that it can fit on this 18-inch wide tank. It has these little lips that come down on the sides that hold it onto the tank, very similar to what this used to do. And in the back, it actually has these frame pieces that go longitudinally along the topper underneath. They hit the back here. So this thing is completely sturdy inside of the tank frame, and it's not going anywhere. The frame pieces are all made of wood. It's glued together. There's a couple finishing nails and a couple screws that hold all of this together, and I painted the wood black so that it matched the original base of the turtle topper. And then of course I added my egg crate that I painted black. So again, it all matches the top and it looks very clean, and it came out really well. Now that's the Turtle Topper Mod in a nutshell, but like I said, this also fits my 75-gallon aquarium. My 75-gallon aquarium has my turtles in it. So let's give this turtle topper a live test. Let's put it on the 75-gallon aquarium and see how my turtles like it. Alright, so the Turtle Topper Mod is installed on my 75-gallon aquarium with my 2 slider turtles inside. I added a couple decorations around the turtle topper, which includes this turf grass and a leafy vine that I had from a different build. Let's take a closer look. Now right over here, I'm using that same egg crate that we painted black, and obviously it does not fit the opening for a 75-gallon aquarium. Right now it's a little too wide and a little too short lengthwise. Turtles could climb out both sides here, so this doesn't work perfectly. But I'm watching the turtles so I can make sure they don't climb out, and it gives you a good idea of what this looks like overall. And I have this little LED strip light that I got pretty cheap on Amazon. Now I have a yellow belly slider and a red-eared slider in this tank, both around 7 inches long carapace length, and they don't really fit very well in this turtle topper, but I still wanted to give you guys a method of modding this turtle topper so it fits real turtle-sized tanks. Smaller type turtles would do great with this turtle topper and wouldn't outgrow it like these guys did. But just to give you guys an idea of what a turtle looks like up in the top here, once again, voluntold Harold to be our participant. So, as I just showed you, Harold fit perfectly in that upper basking area and was able to slide down the ramp back into the water. I don't think Harold would have any issues climbing back into the basking area. Alright, so I just showed you the turtle topper on my 75-gallon aquarium. If you're interested on how I built this, stick around. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process on how to take your original turtle topper by Penn-Plax and make the turtle topper mod so that it can fit any width tank. So if you want to see how I built this, just keep watching. Otherwise, I hope you were inspired, and see ya. Awesome, you stuck around. Let's get to building this thing. Alright, so first thing I did was I grabbed my 40-gallon aquarium, completely empty, and I started taking measurements to determine the frame size for my turtle topper. Alright, so this is a picture of all of the parts, the tools, and the hardware that we're going to use for this project. Now, it looks like a lot on this table, but it really isn't that bad. The turtle topper mod itself is only made of 3 different pieces of wood, and those include a 1/8 inch by 2.5 inch by 4 foot poplar board. I have a 1 inch by 2 inch by 8 foot square edge Whitewood board, and the actual dimensions for this Whitewood board are 3/4 of an inch by 1.5 inch, which is very important when you're actually designing and trying to put this thing together. Keep in mind, nominal dimensions are very misleading. Always measure the wood that you're using before you actually install it on anything. And then I have a 48-inch piece of wood lath that's an 1/8 inch by 1.5 inches. You can also get this as a poplar board. I just got lucky, and the wood lath is just kind of scrap for going under tiles and roofs, and it was only 59 cents for 4 feet. Awesome deal. And that's it for the wood. So also I have a cover that I put on the open part of the tank where the turtle topper is not, and I use just egg crate for that. It's a white plastic at a hardware store. So for hardware itself, I have 1.25 inch wood screws, I have 1 inch finishing nails, I have some wood glue, and I have some black universal spray paint that is Rust-oleum, and it works on anything, so it's perfect for this project. Moving on to the tools, I have a wood saw, a hammer, a spare piece of sandpaper, I have 4 C-clamps that you can find at any hardware store. I have an electric drill that I have a little bit for pilot holes, and of course the bit to drive a Phillips screw. And then I have a screwdriver, I have a pencil, a utility knife, and a tape measure. And that's it. Sounds like a lot, but it's not that bad. Let's do it. Alright, so first things first is we are going to make our frame pieces for a Penn-Plax topper. What we're going to use is that common whiteboard. It's an 8-foot piece, but we're going to cut it down into 4 pieces. The nominal dimensions of this wood is 2 inches by 1 inch. The actual dimensions are 1.5 by 3/4 of an inch. Definitely keep this in mind with your actual measurements of your frame, because you're going to get it wrong if you use just those nominal dimensions. Now, I always sand my wood, especially the parts I cut, because that gets pretty rough at the ends. And I like to sand down the edges because those are also pretty sharp. Alright, so the 4 frame pieces are cut. I'm now showing you how I laid them on the bottom of the turtle topper to figure out where I need to cut the turtle topper in order to install this correctly. So you can see that there's a lip around the outside of the turtle topper that actually helps hold it onto a 13-inch wide tank. Obviously, we can't use this lip because it doesn't fit on a 40-gallon like that. So what I need to do is I need to cut out part of that lip so that our frame pieces will sit in the groove flat, so the turtle topper sits flat and isn't installed at an angle. Now you can see that I just used a saw to cut out the gouge there, and then I used a utility knife to try to smooth it out a little bit and help bend it and break it off. It's a little bit awkward, but eventually it worked out really well. Alright, so the next step is to take your shorter pieces and align them laterally at the ends of your other pieces that you just installed inside the topper. And what I do is I C-clamp them together and I measure them out just so it's even on all sides. And I'm going to use a 1.25 inch wood screw here. And of course I pilot hole so that I lessen the risk of cracking the wood. And I just put one 1.25 inch wood screw on each corner, and that holds this thing very well together. So now we have our frame together, and you can kind of see where this is going. I'm showing it on the 40-gallon aquarium and how it's going to sit on the frame of the aquarium itself. Taking the topper, you can place it right on those beams. So taking a closer look at what we have so far, you can see these really big gaps on each side of the turtle topper. Now, if you have a hatchling turtle, they could probably escape out of this gap. It also just does not look that good. So I want to fill that gap in on both sides. So what we're going to use to do that is this Poplar Board. It's a thin board, and it'll fit on both sides by just cutting it lengthwise without any other modification, which makes it really easy for this installation. So we finished cutting those 2 Poplar Board pieces, the length of the entire setup here, including the turtle topper and the frame itself. So you'll notice it still doesn't look great. You have that frame board that just kind of sticks everything up, and there's a gap if you looked forward at it. So I want to fill in that gap, and then there's also just an unevenness on the front and back where it doesn't line up with the Poplar Board you just installed. So you can see I'm doing this front trim here. This actually kills 2 birds with 1 stone because it'll look better, and it'll also hold the topper on the tank frame itself so it can't move around very easily, which is what that black trim that we cut earlier used to do. And also we're going to do it in the front just because it looks a little better that way. Alright, so the wood we're going to use for these little trim pieces is actually wood lath. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I actually found this just walking around Home Depot, and it was 59 cents for 4 feet, and I couldn't pass up that deal. So I snagged it. It's the same thickness as that Poplar Board, and it's at 1.5 inches wide, so that's going to work for what we need here. So we got our pieces cut. I'm just going to show you real quick how they fit into the whole assembly here. Those 2 pieces in the front and back just kind of fill in the gaps and hold the topper in place, and then that piece in the front just makes it look better from the side. Alright, so here's a shot of all the wood that's going to go into this turtle topper mod. Alright, so we're now going to assemble a portion of those trim pieces around our frame. And what I'm going to use is wood glue and finishing nails. The reason I want to use both is to kind of hasten the process of gluing, because with wood glue you want to clamp it really tight in order to get a good bond. I'm just going to put a finish nail in there to get that clamp done immediately. That way I can do a couple angles of this frame at once. This doesn't need to be a super perfectly structurally sound frame. It's already super robust, so I'm not worried about it falling apart. So yeah, this is just wood glue and finish nails. So while I was gluing and nailing these trim pieces together, I realized I couldn't do all the sides at once. Why was that? Because then the turtle topper itself would have been wedged inside the frame and permanently placed there. And since I want to paint this thing and I haven't painted any of the pieces yet, this wasn't an option. You can see I put the little 1.5 inch pieces on the front and the 2.5 inch piece on the side and the little 1.5 inch piece on the side as well. Alright, so I can put the frame back on the tank. For the most part, it's built. It just needs to be painted, and then I can put the remainder of the trim pieces on. Now, a really important part of the entire tank assembly here, to guarantee success that your turtle topper will work, but your turtles also will not escape, is I'm going to put a cover on that open section of the tank. What I'm going to use is a sheet of egg crate that I got from Home Depot, and I'm going to break it to the sizes I just measured, and then I will have a cover for that side that's missing any sort of protection from the turtle escaping. So using egg crate is super easy. There's actually tons of videos on YouTube of people making entire basking areas out of egg crate, including the ramp and the walls. Fairly cheap, sturdy, and simple piece of structure that you can use for all sorts of purposes, especially with fish tanks. So in order to work with egg crate, all you really need to do is measure how much egg crate you need to cover whatever you are covering, and then you simply just need to take a tool that has some weight on the end of it, like a screwdriver, and you just start chipping away at the plastic in between the lateral pieces. So I show you here, I just prop it up and I just start hitting the channel that I want to make through the egg crate, and I just keep hitting it. I go slow here because I don't want to mess up and break a piece that I didn't mean to break. It is about $16 for this whole sheet, so it's not super cheap to be messing around with. So I wanted to get it right the first try. So I chip it away at both sides to get the right size here. Now, once you get it chipped away, you're going to have a lot of little sharp pieces, and not only will it not fit well in what I just measured for the 40-gallon aquarium, but also it's going to be sharp, and you don't want to handle little sharp pieces of plastic when you're moving this cover around. So I chip off the big edges and then I sand down just to get it so it's relatively smooth to handle. So one thing that's really awesome about egg crate being a cover for your aquarium is that you can simply break off some pieces in the back of the cover you make to fit any sort of wire or a filter or anything, which most covers for aquariums don't let you do very easily. So alright, don't forget to do a fit check. It fits perfectly next to the frame I made for the turtle topper, and that's going to work great. So next step here is I need to paint everything. I already painted one side that I'm showing in the video here. Now I'm just painting the back side. So I just give it 2 good coats of that Rust-oleum universal black spray paint. Regular brush-on paint would work fine too here. I'm just lazy, and spray painting is just so much easier because you don't have to deal with brushes. You just have to deal with the fumes. So now that we have all our pieces painted, they look really good. That glossy black paint matches that turtle topper, and we have those couple extra pieces of wood trim that we need to install to permanently install the turtle topper base into our frame. And this time I just used wood glue for those top pieces, and I used some finishing nails on the sides. It's basically a matter of preference whether you have time to let it clamp or you just want to use a nail to clamp it. So up to you. Once that glue dries, we're going to have the entire turtle topper mod complete, and it'll be ready to use in your aquarium. Thanks for watching. This is Long Live Your Turtle. Like, subscribe, comment. See ya!